welcome everyone here, and I'm going to immediately turn it over to our CEO, Jay Coburn, who will cue it up for Terry Barron, who is going to really sort of be the star of our conversation this afternoon or evening. So thank you so much, Jay.
Thanks so much, Britt, and thanks to you too, and Jason, for organizing this evening's event. I think some of you have been joining us quite regularly as we've been doing these community conversations using the video platform as opposed to doing them in person as we did prior to March. So I appreciate the opportunity to update you a little bit on some of the things that are going on at the CDP as we work to help our community respond to this unprecedented economic crisis. And then tonight, I have a chance to learn a bit about the Housing Rehabilitation Loan Program that our colleague Terry Barron runs for us. So just a couple of updates. About a month ago, we joined with community development corporations from across the Commonwealth in endorsing community-led effort to continue the moratorium on evictions of residents of our affordable housing due to the inability to pay rent because of economic distress related to COVID. And however, I'm really pleased to report that thanks to the great partnership we have with the Homeless Prevention Council, we continue to work very closely with our residents and are continue to collect in excess of 90% of our rents every month as we've helped those families who are feeling some economic distress get linked up with a variety of different rental assistance programs, as well as other benefits so they can weather this economic storm. We also, too, I think some of you are aware that for over a year, we've been working with the town of Provincetown on a really one-of-its-kind project in the Commonwealth, 28 units of community housing known as the Harbor Hill development. And this is a project that was created by the town to meet the needs of our year-round residents who earn too much to qualify for traditional affordable housing, yet given the fact that our housing market has very little to do with our local economy, are unable to find, let alone afford, rentals. And so we now have Harbor Hill at 100% occupancy with 28 families now who live and work year-round in Provincetown, having a place to live that with rents that they can afford as year-round residents. And then finally, we have been working very hard to support our small business community, and in particular in partnership with the town of Truro, are hard at work moving about $400,000 in community development block grant funds to help small businesses, particularly those that are owned by low to moderate income residents, and many of whom found it very difficult to use the federal programs, the Payroll Protection Program or economic injury disaster loans available from the Small Business Administration. And I'm pleased to say that we have over 40 applicants and that we're working through and helping those applicants put their application packages and all the required paperwork together. We have been able to move already some $120,000 in loans that should be 100% forgivable. We're working with the applicants to make sure that they can come up with the documentation to demonstrate their losses of income because of COVID-19, and we anticipate moving all of those funds out over the next 30 days through that community development block grant program. And finally, we continue to have about half of our staff is working at home. We're also acutely aware of the unfortunate increase in cases, and are very much on top of the possibility that we may be forced to go back to largely 100% of remote working. But fortunately, our configuration of our offices have allowed for about half of us to return to the office, making sure that we're wearing masks and social distancing in our common spaces, but able to work in our offices. And so I really want to thank the great team that we have here for, enduring this really difficult time and really rising to the occasion to help our community with helping our small businesses and our affordable housing residents, while also dealing with great challenges at home in their own lives with kids at school or coming home from college early. The team here has really been working really hard. So for about I think it's almost close to 20 years now, the CDP has, using community development block grant funds, been running a really important project, and that's called the Housing Rehabilitation Loan Program. And we have certainly faced some real challenges in running that program over the last 8 months. I think that Terry Barron will share with you. But this is a program that's designed to help low to moderate income homeowners make much needed repairs to their homes. That often families kind of living at the edge may own their own home, but certainly keeping up with maintenance can be a real challenge. And this program really helps those families, addressing safety issues with homes and also making those homes more energy efficient. And we are extraordinarily blessed to have Terry Barron directing that program for the past 2 years. And so with that, Terry, let me turn it over to you to talk a bit about housing rehab.
Thanks, Jay. And yeah, no pressure there. So I am going to share my screen. I've got just a few slides to kind of run through. I'm going to give you an overview of our program, how it works, and also share a couple of stories as to some homeowners that we've helped in the past year or two. So pictures and everything. So let me know if this works. Can you see my slides?
Looks good.
Yes. All right. Getting a thumbs up from Brett. Cool. Okay. So, so as Jay said, this is our housing rehabilitation program. He did cover a little bit of how this works, or the overview, but essentially the purpose is to assist year-round residents. Part-time residents are not eligible. Low to moderate income homeowners, and that means 80% of the area median income. So for example, if it's one person, they have to be at or below $54,150 for their annual income. Family of 4 has to be at or below $77,300. And we assist them with structural repairs. Again, so as Jay said, they can stay in their homes as long as they like. Those income figures maybe sound, high, 77,000, but if you really think about the cost of living here with a family of 4, that doesn't leave a whole lot of extra money to fix up your home. So these folks are definitely in need. Yes, we have actually been serving homeowners through this program for over 25 years now, and the money does come through a community development block grant through a host town. So the host town right now is the town of Truro. That can change and has been different towns in the past. And then we, the CDP, are the sub-grantee, so we manage that program for the town. Because of where the funding comes from, the program is subject to several HUD regulations. For example, how we have to income qualify people. Those are the income limits we use. If there's lead paint, how we have to go about doing that lead paint abatement. We have very specific regulations we need to follow, things like that. And in all of the years that this program has been in existence, we have actually dispersed over $12 million in housing rehab funds. So the way that it works is that folks who qualify, And the application is a bit arduous, but once they get through it, folks right now who are in the towns of Harwich, Eastham, Truro, or Provincetown are eligible. Again, those towns can change year to year based on need scores involving how many low to moderate income residents there are per town. But those who qualify are eligible for up to $40,000 in structural repairs. Technically, it's $35,000, but if there are energy efficiency improvements like windows and doors and things like that, or if there's lead paint abatement, we can add another $5,000 to that, and most homes will have one of those. So it's really up to $40,000. However much that project is given to the homeowner in the form of a 15-year, no interest, no payment, deferred loan. So essentially, we just take that amount. They sign actually a mortgage that goes as a lien against their home with the Registry of Deeds. And as long as they stay in their home and keep it as their primary residence, for each year of that 15-year term, 1/15 is forgiven every year. At the end of 15 years, the whole loan is completely forgiven. And if they sell their home anytime before that 15 years is up, then whatever the balance is left just gets paid back to the town. If there is a rental unit in a owner-occupied home, then that unit gets a 15-year rental restriction, meaning that an affordable rental restriction gets put on the home where for the life of the loan, anyone that they rent to has to fall into the affordable requirements. And so they are restricted as to how much they can charge for rent. Even if they sell the home before the 15 years is up, that rental restriction moves on with the home. So the new homeowner is subject to that as well. So as Jay said, we do all kinds of structural repairs. And so we don't do anything cosmetic, nothing like, kitchen cabinets or, new counters or things like that that just make it look better. We do a lot of new roofs, cedar shingles and clapboard siding, all kinds of trim, new windows, new doors. Again, lead paint abatement. Any home that was built prior to 1978 is subject to a lead paint inspection. And if there is lead paint found, then that lead paint abatement becomes part of the project. And if there are any code violations, we handle that as well. For example, and you'll see this in one of the projects that I'll show you in a little bit. If someone has, let's say, a deck on their home and the railings are not to code, they were built 30 years ago and little kids can fall through them or things like that, we will also take care of that. We also address things like failing septic systems and failing furnaces and boilers and hot water tanks. We are not allowed to use any funds for diagnostic purposes. However, if the homeowner is willing to have a professional come in, diagnose the problem, get a letter that says that the system, whether it's a septic or a furnace, is on its last legs, it's failing or about to fail, it's at its end of life, then we are able to replace it. Pretty much anything we do is replaced like for like, so we don't give a lot of upgrades, although the good news is when we put in a new furnace or things like that, they're all so much more energy efficient now than they used to be, so that's all good. Once the homeowner gets through the application process, which is really the toughest part for them, and we approve them, the nice part is it's kind of all downhill for them from there, meaning we take care of everything else. So we'll come in with our housing rehab specialist, who is a licensed contractor, and we'll go in, inspect the home, do a project write-up, which the homeowner will approve. And then what we'll do is we'll hold a contractor walkthrough. So we have a variety of general contractors from the Cape who participate in this program. And so we will email them and say, okay, at 8 o'clock on Friday morning, we're going to have a walkthrough at 35 Main Street. Please show up. And we'll get a handful of those folks that show up. We'll walk them through the home, show them what work needs to be done. And then whoever shows up to those walkthroughs is eligible to bid on the project. So we invite them to bid. Typically, it's the lowest bidder that gets the project, with few exceptions. We also take care of paying those contractors throughout the process. They will invoice us. Our housing rehab specialists will go to inspect at every stage of the project, and then we will pay those contractors. And then we also do the loan closings. We will draft all of the loan paperwork and walk them through all of that and file the loan with the Registry of Deeds. This is really a win-win program, because not only are we helping the homeowners be able to stay in their homes, but we're really helping the local economy as well. And so, as you'll see that, by using local contractors, we have put over $10 million back into our communities, which is wonderful. So here's our first project that I'd like to show you, and I call it Unwell and Overwhelmed. And so this project was done for a lovely woman. She was in her 70s. She and her husband bought this house, and unfortunately, in less than 10 years after they bought the home, her husband passed away. So she was left with the upkeep of this home, which she tried to do to the best of her ability. At the same time, a few years after that, she started battling some health issues of her own. So keeping up on the home was just, more work than she was able to do. So she came to us and said, "Hey, can you help me? I really need some new siding." And that's all she wanted was siding. And so we came out and we said, "Sure, we can help you with siding, but you really need a lot more than that." So what we did was we ended up helping her with not only siding around the whole home, but a new roof, which was at the end of its life, new gutters, new trim. Her front steps, you'll see the white ones in that left picture, were not even attached to the house. They were crumbling and were a complete safety hazard. We put on new doors, some new windows, and we also did some new basement stairs for her, which you'll see. So hopefully you can see these pictures, but you'll see the siding on the home. You'll see new windows that we put in. Her basement stairs were really not to code, and as you can see, there were no railings whatsoever on these stairs, which is definitely a safety hazard and a code violation. So we gave her a nice new safe set of stairs. So that was one project that we did not too long ago. Another project that we did recently was for a young family, nice couple in their 30s, have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and they are kind of the epitome of the young family trying to make it on Cape Cod. They are holding down 3 jobs between the two of them. He works in a boat yard. She works both in an office and bartends at night, at least when COVID isn't striking. And, just getting by. So when they came over to us, they had a leaky roof. You can see in that top picture, their roof is just a mess. Their siding was rotted. Their trim was rotting. Their railing, actually, on their deck, you can see little kids could fall right through there. That was a code violation. They needed new doors. And also, after we did a lead paint inspection, their chimney on the inside of their home, which was kind of a focal piece in the living room, had been painted, and it had been painted with lead paint. So that had to be fixed. So you'll see we did a nice new bay window for them, along with some other windows. And as you can see, where their trim was really, really rotting, we replaced all of that around the whole perimeter of the home. So they are quite happy as well. And what we're happy about is that we have a young family that can stay in their home, and also they have a nice, safe environment to raise their children. So as Jay said, COVID has really affected our program quite a bit this year, in a multitude of ways. And the first thing that happened was, and this has never really happened because we normally have more applicants than we can help, applications were very slow to come in. And that was really for 2 reasons. One is that many people assumed that we were not moving forward with our program because of the coronavirus. And then secondly, we tend to have some older clients, and they certainly did not want people coming into their homes, which is, absolutely understandable. Once we put the word out that we were in fact moving forward and some of the restrictions had lifted, applications started to come in, and we're pretty much on track now. Although I'm happy to say that our year-end deadline that we normally have, the Department of Housing and Community Development that oversees this program did extend our projects into the first quarter of next year, because they knew that, everyone was kind of slow rolling for quite a few months this year. But we put some new safety protocols in place. For example, no one was allowed into anyone's homes without gloves, without masks, things like that. We would limit the amount of contractors that could go into a home at once during our walkthrough, so you didn't have 6 contractors standing side by side, shoulder to shoulder. So we'd let one in at a time, view the home, see what was going on, things like that. For a handful of months, we were only allowing our contractors to do exterior work. And then as things got better, we started back with interior work as homeowners became more comfortable. We ran into long lead times for materials, and some of that is still ongoing, but windows that used to have a 4-week lead time were now taking anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks to come in, which were delaying all of our projects, or most of our projects, things like that. We even have one window company right now that they've become so discombobulated that they can't even tell our contractors where their window orders are. Have they been made? Are they on the truck? Are they coming in? No one seems to know. So there are a lot of issues that have been going on there. And then in addition to that, the cost of materials has skyrocketed and continues to skyrocket. I'm hearing that the cost of pressure treated lumber has, more than doubled and almost tripled lately, and things like that. So as much as we are happy to be up and running, this year certainly has not been without its challenges. But we are, we're going along fine, and we've completed quite a few projects this year, and we will be almost done, except for 1 or 2 projects by the end of this year. So, and then we're already taking applications for next year. So that is our program, and I am happy to answer any questions that anyone may have. If I can somehow figure out how to stop sharing my screen. There we go. Any questions? Everyone is muted, so if you have any, please unmute yourself.
So Terry, just to kind of kick us off, tell us a little bit about kind of the proportion of folks that we serve in our community. Certainly seniors and helping seniors stay in their homes is one part, but also helping young families, particularly. And maybe you could share a story or two about some of the younger families who are able to buy a home, but it's like the one you just showed, and then others that it's kind of a mess, and this is really the only option for them to make repairs.
Yeah. So this year, if my numbers are correct, typically we serve anywhere between 20 and 25 homeowners per year. So this year, our community development block grant was over $700,000, which is wonderful. We will do about 22 projects this year. And so in about 70% of those homes, we have seniors living. They may not necessarily be the only homeowner, or they may not be the head of household, but it could be that, for example, I've got a younger family that I'm working with right now, but their 90-year-old mother is living with them, and this is helping them to, keep her there, things like that. This year, I would say we had probably more younger families than I had seen, which was kind of nice to see. And you're right, Jay. I mean, some of these families can only buy homes that need a lot of work, and And so I know we will advertise this program through our first-time home buyers class that we offer, so people know that there's help out there for folks. We have one really nice young couple that we helped this year that, again, two small children, and they had lived in the Boston area, could not afford a home, but also felt like they wanted to move down here to have a safer place to raise their children. So they bought a little, it's about an 800 square foot house in Eastham, and the four of them are living there, and they love every inch of it. But again, their windows, they were putting plastic up over the windows because the breeze was just a little too strong coming through in the winter, and things like that. And, you know, so we gave them all new windows, new doors, new siding, and you know, and it helps them stay there. So it's been a nice mix of folks, but everybody has their own story, if you will. And even our older clients, I think, you know, some of them really want to stay in their homes, and others really feel like they have to because maybe the home is paid for, but they can't really afford to move anywhere else right now. So that's the other, you know, issue that goes along with this.
And I would just add, Terry, too, that, you know, for so many older residents of the Lower and Outer Cape, particularly Outer Cape, you know, we just have so little diversity of housing type. You know, on the Lower and Outer Cape, 90% of our housing is single family homes. And, you know, there are many communities where if an older residents want to stay in that community, there aren't other places to go. And so they're, you know, having this program available, being able to help them maintain their home and age in place, really is a great alternative to their having to just pick up and leave of the town, to, you know, because in so many communities we just don't have places where seniors can downsize into.
Terry, where do you, or how do you coordinate with the various energy and weatherization assistance programs?
So typically we will, if someone says, I think I need insulation or things like that, we will actually direct them to Mass Save or, you know, Cape Light Compact for them to come in and do an energy audit and things like that. We prefer that to be done before we actually come in. So, because if they can get services like that for free, then it doesn't make sense for us to use our funds to pay for that, because that leaves that much more money for us to be able to dedicate to things like roofs and siding, and, you know, that they can't necessarily get elsewhere. There are also, you know, other programs out there. There's a Barnstable County, you know, heating loan and a septic system loan and things like that. So we try to coordinate with all of that. We will refer people to other agencies. They'll refer them to us. We will also coordinate with things like Get the Lead Out program if there's a big lead abatement project, which we've had before. Last year we had a $70,000 lead abatement project for a young family. So yeah, so we try to tap into any resources there are out there.
Yeah, I'm glad, Terry, this is Kevin. I'm glad Alan asked that, because I actually did just get a letter yesterday or last week from the Cape Light Compact that is showing their updated incentives, and they're including for eligible, meaning you have to go through the assessment and determine, you know, what the needs are. But up to 100% of insulation, air sealing is now covered, including for rental situations, which is really awesome. And I think, again, depending upon income eligibility, if they go through the HARTWAP or the DOE weatherization funds, they actually could provide additional boiler-related replacement funding. So that could help you stretch your dollars, you know, knowing that another bucket's covering the boiler. And it's all done with building science and the protocols that I'm sure you have to follow, and they do as well. So your program's great. I have to also say, I was along with the board members when, Jay, this was even before your time, you did a tour. Everybody got on the bus and you brought folks out to some of your projects. And it was really nice to see, you know, on the ground. It was in Harwichport, and I can't remember wherever we went. And it was really nice to take a tour, to see up close and personal. I mean, it's great, Terry, to see the photos. They're wonderful. But, you know, when you can bring your board members out and really see, you know, oh, these are neighborhoods that people are really able to stay and live in. And, you know, you make the project, you know, turn out to be an improvement that could, in fact, generate some, I'll say, infection and contagious activity. And the neighbors actually might say, gee, I need to update too. So it's a win-win.
They do. We actually, that young family that I was talking about that bought their small home in Eastham, their neighbors did actually call me and they said, you know, they told us about this program, but I don't understand because there has to be a catch. It can't be as good as they're saying. Like, no, it really is.
We also have there's a section in Dennis where it's a small neighborhood, and there's like these 2 streets in Dennis where we've done about 5 different HR projects, and it's all been word of mouth. So they've literally, like, you have like one house on this side, the other house, and then one on the diagonal. It's really kind of neat how the word spread and the community realized that this was a great opportunity that was out there for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think actually a handful of our projects this year are all through word of mouth from previous clients and things like that. But I would also ask all of you, you know, tell people, because believe it or not, you know, we do run into periods where we look for people to apply, and it's, you know, such a great thing. And either people just don't know about it, or they do think it's too good to be true, or, you know, I get people saying, well, I just don't want another loan payment. And it takes, you know, some education to say there are no loan payments, and really this, you know, this is here to help you. So so tell your friends, tell your neighbors.
Unfortunately, we've got some great, you know, partnerships too with the COA directors in the various towns, with some of our other partner organizations, you know, Homeless Prevention Council, Cape Cod Children's Place, Family Pantry, to really kind of get the word out. And then we also, with several of the towns, you know, allow inserts in tax bills. So we we'll put a flyer in the tax bill to try to bring this program to the attention of homeowners in the target towns.
Yeah, and I will say that some of our partners like Homeless Prevention and also some of the councils on aging are wonderful in helping the homeowners do our applications and gather all the paperwork that we need, because it is overwhelming for some of them. And so to have that help and to say, okay, we can email your bank for this and we can call your insurance company for this, it just takes some of the pressure off of them and some of the stress. So they're able to help walk them through it with our help as well. But you know, it's good to have partners like that. Any other questions?
Any other general questions about the work of the CDP?
Questions for me, Britt?
Yeah, well, probably not for me, more likely for Jay.
Great.
Board.
Yes, hi. I had a question about how this works for CDP. That's a community development block grant, and that I would assume underwrites the employee salary, and there are some management expenses involved. And
not quite, and this is where you come in. So there are program administration dollars that are available, that are part of the grant, but they pretty much only cover half of the cost that it takes us to run this program. And so, fortunately, thanks to a grant from the Sailor Snug Harbor Foundation in Boston, as well as unrestricted dollars that we get from people like you contributing to the CDP. That's how we're able to leverage these significant federal resources for the benefit of our community.
Wow, everything needs a subsidy, huh?
Yes, it sure does.
Steve, you had a question.
Yeah, I have a question for Terry. Terry, have you thought of asking or talking to the building inspectors in the different towns that you're going to. I mean, you're only looking at a handful of towns. Because those building inspectors are I'm dealing with, plumbing inspectors all the time. And those building inspectors, they're all around town. They know the property that has the elderly person that needs the assistance. And I mean, they would be, I want to say a fetus for your program, but I mean, they would know people who really need the assistance, and if they knew that you existed,
Some of them do, but only because we've had to get involved with a building inspector if the issues have come up or things. Usually the contractors will do that, but on occasion we've had to. But no, that's a good idea. Especially as building inspectors change and things like that. So yeah, that's actually a nice idea that we haven't done. So appreciate that thought.
There's only a few of them, and then each town usually has a plumbing guy, and a wire guy,
Yeah,
and a structural guy. So you're only looking at 3 people.
Yeah.
And most of them aren't even full time. So tracking them down is tough.
Yeah.
But they know. I mean, I mean, like the plumbing inspector, he'll go into a piece of property and the contractor will stand there and say, what do you think? And he'll say, well, that boiler needs to be replaced. And he'll say, the contractor would just tell the inspector, well, they ain't got enough money. I'm walking away from this job. And that happens more than you would realize.
okay. Yeah, that's a good thought.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
We certainly, as part of our application process, we do outreach to the town officials to get their endorsement of it.
Right.
Of the application to the state for the block grant. And that's a good reminder, Steve. Thank you. That some more continued outreach, because they're certainly out in the field and observing safety situations that need to be addressed.
A lot of times, Jay, they think they don't put it together,
right,
that this is available for other people. I mean, they're like tunnel vision, a lot of these guys. I know these guys. Yeah. Okay, that's that project, and it's not connected to anything. But to know that Terry is a connection to increasing the quality of life for more than just that one customer.
For sure, yeah.
And along those lines of networks, Paige, you had mentioned that you were in the real estate field. I mean, that's another place, where there's a natural connection. You're showing a young family around and you're showing something at their price point, and it's a tumble down, and they're trying to figure out if this is something they can move into. And this is obviously a resource that, while it's not guaranteed because it depends on income eligibility and those kinds of things, at the same point, as Steve has mentioned, the more people that know that this is a resource that may be available to them, the better it is for our community and keeping people in their homes, retaining young families here, also allowing our seniors to be able to age in place as well. It has so many benefits. So, thinking broadly about those connections is worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for us? Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to, with the coming up, please stay safe. And I know that folks will not be out doing the usual holiday gatherings, but we're we are actually going to take a break for December and be back in January kind of with future events and opportunities for you to hear about the work that we do and meet some of the folks that we serve here at the CDP. And again, I want to thank Jason and Terry and Britt for their great work they do for our community, and thank all of you for helping to make this program and the other services that we offer here at the CDP possible. So please have a happy Thanksgiving and stay safe, and we hope to see you next time.
Yeah.
Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Britt. Thanks, Jay. Terry, keep up the good work.
Thanks. We'll see you on the Upper Cape. That's where I am.
Good.